Hello friends, welcome to my channel. As many of you might know that AWS announced GA for its generative AI service, which is Amazon Bedrock. Amazon Bedrock is a managed foundation model for us. And in this tutorial, we are going to see how we can integrate AWS Lambda function with Bedrock foundation model. So without further delay, let's get started. There are many things to learn in this tutorial and I'm sure you are going to love it. So let's get into management console.
Okay, so before we get into management console, I just want to show you quick steps what we are going to do in this video and how we are going to integrate Lambda with Amazon Bedrock foundational model. So first step is enable access to FM in Bedrock, then get API request from AWS management console using foundational model, and I'll show you how to do it. Then create Lambda layer with latest Boto3 libraries. Create Lambda function using the said library Lambda layer, and then test your result. We'll just run it in console itself for Lambda function and make sure that we are able to get response from Bedrock foundation model. So these are the simple steps what we are going to do. I'm not going to cover what is Bedrock service and how to navigate the console for Bedrock. That I already covered in my previous video, and I highly recommend that put that link into description so you have easy access to it. So with that understanding, let's jump into management console. Okay, so we are into management console. I search for Amazon Bedrock and then I get this page. Just click on get started and you can see overview page, and these are different foundational model providers. You can see it on the top. I'm not going to dig deeper into all this portal or page for Amazon Bedrock. As I said, you can refer to earlier video, but here the quick thing I'll show, because that is must for you before you can even get started with this tutorial, right? This is a paid service, so I'm not sure whether it's part of free tier as of now. I'm not in a free tier, so I just need to like have a little bit of pay for this whatever I'm doing. So if you are doing along with me, right, make sure you look into that, whether it's a free tier or you're okay to spend a few bucks on this. Okay, so but no harm in just watching me doing it, right? And then you can later figure that out. Okay, so you can just go into model access, edit, choose whatever model you want to use, and then save here. So here it says save changes. It's grayed out for me because I haven't made any change. Okay, so I can just show you that. Okay, I'll just, and then I can save changes, but I don't want to do that. I just want to use Jurassic 2 Ultra foundational model, right, which is from AI21 Labs. Okay, with this, let me go into playground text. And what is playground and all that, you can watch the earlier video, but now let's understand that we are into text playground. We choose provider for the model, which is AI21 Labs, which is base model. Then we'll choose actual model what we are going to use, and here you can put something hello, and all you need is, don't mess up with whatever configuration it has. It doesn't really matter for this tutorial, but there are some levers we can use, but for this tutorial let it be as it is. Okay, so this is API request, and note it down because we are going to need this when we are putting it code in our Lambda function. So you can just copy it and keep it somewhere, and then you can make use of the same API request. So good thing is it's directly giving us API request, so we can integrate that with our code. That is the beauty of it. And if you have any other models, right, you can just choose model and then view API request, because every model will have their own syntax for the API request. So I will encourage you, whenever you decide to integrate with your code, make sure you choose this model like this in management console and get the API request format, and it's pretty easy doing that this way. Okay, so so this is the second step what I just showed you before. Now let's get into EC2 server, and what EC2 server I'm using it for, right? I'm going to create Lambda layer from EC2 server. Okay, so let me connect to EC2. instance connect, you can use putty to connect it. It's like this is a quick way of connecting it, but you can just use putty and then connect from there. Okay, so this is EC2 server for us, and what I'm going to use is this is a Linux server. I'm just going to use this to create our Lambda layer, and there are just few commands what we need to do. And good thing is whatever I'm showing you, right, it is very well documented in the blog post which I created for this, and I'll put the link to it. And I'm pretty sure like if you follow this blog post, right, you will be able to do what we are talking about. Sometimes some people prefer visuals behind that, and that's the reason I'm recording this video. But otherwise, like if you are okay to follow written instruction, this is a good resource for you. You can just follow and then do exactly what we have done here. And I have shown it step by step how to do this, how to get API request and all that. Okay, so let's go into the third step, which is create Lambda layer to have latest Boto 3 version. And the reason for doing that, right, I have noted it down. I tried without doing that, just importing Boto 3 into Lambda function, and it gave me this error, unknown service, and that was to do with Boto 3 version. So I just went to this step, creating a Lambda layer for that purpose. Okay, and there is a good resource for this as well, and I given a link to that. If you want, right, you can just go to this link. It has many different ways of creating a layer, but I'm just using manually a manual step for creating Lambda layer. So I just noted down that as well. You can just click here and you can go to the AWS link. It is like AWS repost link, so you can go there and then even look at other options which you can use for doing this. Okay, all steps are mostly from that this section. Only one thing I have added is this one, sudo m install pip, because somehow I was not able to proceed without that. Okay, having said that, let me first make sure that I have a AWS CLI access. S3ls, I'll just quickly check that. Okay, I have a AWS CLI, and if you don't have it, make sure that you install AWS CLI. It is pretty simple. You can just Google, and then you will get to AWS documentation page, download that, and then install it. And there are very descriptive steps in the documentation. So, and once you download, you can configure it. So AWS configure, you can just do that, right? And then it will just ask you access key ID, then secret access key, your region. I'm using US just one, and then format you can just enter. So I'm just showing you how I did it, but like it's already configured for me. Okay, having said that, we'll just proceed with the next steps. Okay, so I'll just create a like a directory which we'll use for doing this. Okay, so directory is created. Then as I said, I just added this step because somehow it was not working for me. I think it might be already there. Okay, yeah, it's nothing to do because it's already installed, and when I checked it for my blog post, I have installed it, and the same server I'm using for this activity. So but if you are doing it first time on that server, this is going to help you. Okay, so I'll create one directory, right, which is like a Boto 3 my layer, right? You can change the name, like name I don't see like it will matter. You can just change the name and create like your package for creating a Lambda layer for you. Okay, so it takes like few seconds. I don't think like it will take long, but like I'll just show you that. And the second part to this, right, like which is a fifth step, like how to publish the layer. So as I said, like we already configured AWS CLI, so it knows which account it should connect to, and that's when like it will be able to create a layer directly in the Lambda service, right? So Lambda layer, this layer is already created for me, but what I'll do is I'll just change the name and show you that. Okay, that now how that layer will get created, right? So let me do that real quick. I'll just change the name for Lambda layer, and that should be it. I think, yeah, this should work. Layer name is, I just added one, and it should create a layer for you. And the reason I'm doing it again, I can just go back to function and just show you code, and then how I use the layer there. That is pretty much it. I can show you that. But one thing I want to note here, that you need this layer ARN later. So Lambda layer, this is the easiest way of creating it, but I have done the other way as well. Like what I have done in that case, right? This package you can push to S3, whatever package it has created. So this one, for example, where is that, right? This zip file, right? So boto3 mylayer.zip. This package you can push it to S3, and from S3 you can manually create Lambda layer from management console in Lambda service. That is very much possible. If you find that easy, please go ahead and do that. But I found this pretty simple than doing that S3 route, so I just created it. Only one thing you should note, that like you need this layer ARN to add it to your function, right? So this you should note, and that should be it. Like this pretty much everything what we need from the EC2 instance. So we have a layer created, we have looked at Bedrock foundational model, and let's go to Lambda now. Okay, I'll just open Lambda console, and I'll just create new function, but let me just show you what is working as of now. So there are so many functions here now. I just want to show you the Bedrock one. Yeah, access Bedrock FM. Okay, so this function I already created, and I'll share the code exactly what it looks like here. And the only change what I have done is, let me see if I can go up and show you. Okay, yeah. So only change I have done is, whatever we have copied from our API request. If you see this, right, when I go here and look at API request, it has prompt mentioned here. So it is a prompt because we have written that here, right? Hello. So that prompt is captured here. So instead of that, you can just take some variable and use that variable here like this. And I'll, as I said, I'll share code, no worries with that. And if you see, right, even this blog post has all the code what we need, and how to add layer, all this is explained here, right? This is exact code what you will see in management console for me for that function, right? So this prompt I have given, and then this is a syntax to have that as a variable in your Python code. Yeah, by the way, I'm going to use Python as a runtime for me. Okay, so this you can see that like I have added this variable, and this is a prompt I'm going to provide. Hello there, right? Okay, so that's it really for this particular function. Once you have done this, you should be able to test the function. Okay, I'll create new function so that I can show you all the nitty-gritties of it. I remember there is one more error I'll face, and that is to do with permission, but let me just create the function first. Okay, so I'll just go here, create function. I'll want to create it from scratch, FM1, right? Python is a runtime we are using, and then permission, just go into the permission, and what I will say is create new role with basic Lambda permission, right? So it will create one role, access bedrock FM1, and some random characters there. So just keep it unique, right? So there will be another role which is created with access bedrock FM, but I'm creating the new one now. Okay, so create, I can just pretty much use the existing one. That doesn't really make much difference. Whatever I have, right, I can just use it. But I'll just show you, and then like if I get the same error, right, you guys can watch that. Okay, so create function, and then by the time it is like creating it, I'll just copy this code go here and then just put this code into Lambda function. Okay, that's it. I don't think like I need to really change anything unless there is change the way this API works, but I don't think so, right? Because that is the same model I used before. And like quickly we can just see what API it is using for invoking Bedrock. And this is the beauty of it, right? You can see that Bedrock runtime and runtime client I have specified here. So Bedrock runtime invoke model and then this parameter, right? So this is one single API which can be used for all the FMs in Bedrock, and that's what I got to know from documentation for this. But I have checked it only for one foundational model, and this is the one what I'm showing you. But like it should work exactly same for other models. All what it changes is like this API request, and whenever you are choosing particular model, as I have shown it before, let me just show it again. Yeah, here once I have multiple models, right, I can choose whatever model I want, then like a base model provider, then choose the model name and get to view API request. So whatever model in Bedrock, you will be able to invoke that with a single API, and that is the advantage of using Bedrock, and that is the simplicity of calling it in your code. So this is Bedrock runtime invoke model, and this runtime name is here what we just identified as a client for us, Boto3 client. Okay, so that's it. And with this, right, I'll just deploy this function, right, whatever changes we did, and pretty much I'll just go ahead and test the, okay, I'll just mention test event. It doesn't really matter what a format we are giving because we are not going to use this particular event what we are sending, right? It's just a demo event. Okay, so let's see. Okay, access error. Yeah, this is error what is it is reporting, right? So let me see what error it is. Okay, so does it say, yeah, unknown service? So I think this is, yeah, this is good, right? I'm showing you all the errors what I got. So it is unknown service because you may have figured already we don't have layer attached to it, right? So if I go into layers, let me go into layers, you can see there is no layer attached to it. So whatever it is using, right, it is using its Boto3 library what is already there, and that is not a latest version, right? So that's the reason we need to do this layering thing what I just mentioned, like creating Lambda there. So you can see the exact error now, unknown service Bedrock runtime. Okay, so I should update the block with the exact error, I think. Okay, but this is good. You can see what error I was referring to. Then I will just say add layer, then layer we need to choose here. Let me see if I can get it easily from here, or I need ARN. Okay, so I'll just specify ARN, and ARN we should be able to get into from here. So let me note it down. Okay, so I'll just go back, choose this ARN. This value must be a valid. Okay, I need to give version for it. Okay, let's verify. Yeah, so let me add. So this is like syntax for it, right? While adding it, just make sure like you give the version details as well. If you go into layers, you can see what version is current, and it is a version 1. Okay, with this, let's test it. We'll see like whether we get next error. Okay, so test invoke. Okay, so an error occur, access denied exception. So that's what I was referring to earlier, right? Yeah, you will get access denied because you don't have permissions for this Lambda function to call Bedrock. So let me go into IAM. go into roles. Yeah, this is the role what we have for this function. So I'll just go into this, right, and I'll say add function, add permission. I can create inline policy, be choosy on what permissions you want to give. I haven't worked with bedrock granular permission, what permissions we can give and all that, but just for testing it, I will not worry about list privilege policy. I'll just go ahead and give administrator access, and that's what I did earlier as well. But for sure, like if you know AWS, right, they definitely have granular permissions which we can attach, actions which we can like create a policy and attach to it. So we do not need to give administrator. Like please note that this is just for simplicity, because our purpose is to make sure that we are able to integrate like Bedrock with Lambda function, not actually to review all the permissions and think about security at the moment. Okay, so with this I'll just go back to our function and test it again. Okay, I'll test it again, and this is another error. First error, we got that unknown service, we resolved it using the layer what I just showed you. Second error, we got access denied, we added administrator permissions to that Lambda execution role, and we are going next. Okay, so that is what it is, right? So you can say that like it is working fine because we are getting output. How can I assist you today? When I'm sending hello, it's giving me response asking how can I assist you today. So this is pretty much it. You can be creative with your prompt. You can change prompt whatever way you want to. The purpose of this is just to show you how you can integrate Lambda with Bedrock. But definitely this is very simple prompt. But if you know the pricing for it, based on the token, input token which is this prompt, and output token which is a response, like number of tokens will put a like a extra charge if it is a more tokens, right? So pricing is based on the tokens. So I just want to be very frugal on this and just took hello there, and then that is the smallest prompt I can think of. Okay, so that's the only purpose of taking this simple example, but other is like just to show you how this work for you. Okay, one other thing I faced before is like I need to change configuration to change the timeout for the function. So here it is a 3 seconds timeout which is default, but in my case when I was working it before, I made it 10 seconds. This time it was fairly quick, like it took even less than a minute, second, but like earlier it was a little slower for me when I tested, so I made it 10 seconds for general configuration. If you want to do that, please go into configuration, edit, and make changes here. Edit, and you can just pretty much change it here 10 seconds, and that should be it. So that's the only change I have done, right? Which I did not do it when I was testing today. But apart from that, everything you saw, like I was not thinking to show you like how to add layers and like access errors and all that. I was just thinking to show you whatever function already have, but I'm happy I showed you this, so you know like what errors you can expect and why we created a layer and how to do it yourself. I'm sure after watching this you will feel like doing it yourself. Please do that. Be mindful of charges, but like it's definitely a great learning, and I hope like you enjoyed watching this. If you do, make sure you share this with other colleagues and friends of yours. Please subscribe and keep learning, and whatever your take on it, please put that in comment. I will be happy to respond and like read your comments. Thank you. Thanks for connecting with me today. Bye for now. You learned something new today. If so, please like this video, share, leave your comment so that I know this content is helping you. Don't forget to subscribe, and that's now. Okay, see you again with yet another exciting tutorial about AWS. Keep learning, keep sharing what you learn, and thanks for watching.